Of color in a large number until the 1960s or 70s. Now think about that. They've only been educating us for real for about 40 to 50 years. Two generations at this point. 2 generations. That's it. That's it. Colleges and universities want to have you think that everything is good there. I tell people, if they just by virtue of a institution having a Office of Minority Affairs, Office of Intercultural Affairs, Office of African American Affairs, Office of Latino Affairs, that is because those offices were born out of conflict. Something that the institution was not doing. Period. If they have said anything about diversity, that means there's been conflict on there in the past. If you looked at it, some students protest, some students got mad, and guess what? When people get mad and they scream loud enough, guess what? Stuff started happening. So you end up getting a building on campus. Fraternity Row all of a sudden pops up. Unlike P through 12 education, colleges and universities are businesses. It's all about money. Don't ever get it twisted. Yes, they want to educate people. Don't get me wrong. They want to educate people. But it's also about making sure the coffers are okay. That they are financially sound. Now that's kind of weird, right? Because the chief executives of colleges and universities are professors, people who teach, people who most of them never took classes on how to be an administrator, on how to run something. They're researchers. So all of a sudden, these people who are researchers end up running colleges and universities. That makes no sense. But you can't say that because you got to have a PhD to run a college or university. No, you don't. I'm saying on record, no, you don't. No, you don't. If you have an MBA, you can run a college or university. It's a business. So with it being a business model, it is about making as much money as they possibly can. And on top of that, having African American students and other students of color works for the business. Having them there works for the business. Now, how you treat it, that's a different conversation. But I tell students all the time, just how they went and got you, they would go get someone else. They would go get someone else. They would go get someone else. So that's why your success is not that much of importance to them, because they know they can go look in the pipeline and get some more kids. Now, schools that have pipeline issues, they get their game up and work on what they need to do for students because they want to keep them, because they know the pipeline is broken. They know they can't go get as many kids as they want to. With all that being said, embrace the challenge. There's people who've done it before. There's people who are doing it right now. And there's people who've always done it. Because it's what we do. People of color are the best at taking something out of nothing. Ingenuity. You can put a wall in front of us, we will find some way eventually to get around that wall. So knowing this information, attack this with all the intentionality and fervor that you can. Students also need to shift their perspective. It's not high school anymore. Like, for example, When I was at Northern Kentucky University, we had this program called NKU Rocks. They received a lot of this information for about a 2-week period before school started. So they was on campus and it was just them. They got to run around. And I remember the first weekend that they were there, we had a barbecue, okay? And it was all social, fun and games. Monday, we got down to business. There was a 9 o'clock session that they had to be there. Guess what time these jokers started to come in? Oh, 9:10, 9:15, waltzing in. They have a seat, right? So we sit there for about 15 minutes. And we sat there, me and my colleagues sat there, 15 minutes in complete silence. My colleague and co-founder, much more fiery than Mike Griffin. She's only about this big. But she let go this tirade about being on time. I wish I could have recorded it. Because I heard the students say, can they talk to us like that? I mean, seriously, it's leaning forward. And I was trying to get them to understand this, you need to be on time. You need to be first. You need to be up front in the T-zone. If to show that you're serious. Because of people cultural lenses, you could have a 3.9, 3.8. A professor don't know that. They just see you as a little black or brown girl who just happens to come to this school. And that's much different than what you received in high school. In high school, you received folks who had folks who, on the surface, I guess, appeared that they cared. Now, whether they did care, that's a different ballgame. But at least they expressed said care in an intentional way. This process costs way too much money for you not to have a plan and take it seriously. Nothing's going to be given to you. You probably need to take most of what you get. You heard what I said? Take. In a very loose way. Not like robbing is killing, but take what you mostly get. You need to add different stuff to your toolbox. When he was talking about beating up his roommate, no, you can't always use the hammer because they expect you to use the hammer. Email. You see, the use of email, that's a different tool. Following protocol, learning what the institution does and who to report to, that's using a different tool. Not addressing someone right then and there when you're upset is a different tool. If you know if you're going to cuss somebody out and you do better writing it to them, send them a message. Seriously. We don't do that enough. Then also, this whole thing where keeping it real goes wrong. And this is where students really buck against this whole pressure to culturally assimilate. Because they say, I'm from the hood and I need to do it this way because I'm not going to do what these white folks say. Now, at a certain level, you've got to be able to know what's going on. You do. And follow those rules of the road. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're less black. That means you're trying to complete this process. And I tell students all the time, unless we get a whole bunch of black people with PhDs and they all decide to be college professors, these schools going to be white forever. So you're either going to learn the game or the game will consume you. You will be back at home in a minimum wage job, owing the school $6,000 and $7,000 when you start your life. Last time I checked, that's a hell of a way to start life. I tell students all the time, you make things happen, you don't let things happen to you. If you want to get an A in the class, you plot out a way, you do the things that you need to do to get an A. You go get a tutor. You go study. It just doesn't happen because, well, here's an issue that happens in P through 12 education. This whole grade inflation piece. We have students that think they are more talented than what they really are. And it's unfortunate because guess what happens? They go to higher ed and they get the most dangerous right hook they ever experienced in their life. Seriously, it comes face to face to them in their higher ed. And that's why students, they really struggle with it because their whole life they've been told they are academically gifted. No, you were probably one of the best behaved students at the school. So because you were probably one of the best behaved students in the school, you were awarded with an A. All bets are off when you go into higher education. Right. Playing the game. This thing I like to call code switching. Front stage, backstage behavior. I think William Horton Cooley described it the best as the looking glass self. I'm not going to get into all the looking glass self theory, but it is the ability to know where you are and behave in a manner like you know where you are. My friends tell me all the time I am probably one of the best infiltrators that they know. And when I mean I'm an infiltrator, I look the part, I can sound the part. The next thing I know, I turn and flip the script on them. That's what I do. Yes, I am for all this stuff. I'm for the institution. Then I'll get in and say I am clearly for people of color. That's what I do. I clearly flip the script. And it's all about students doing the same thing. No, you should not be in the library saying nigga, 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 nigga. No. That reinforces what the institution thinks of you anyway and individuals within the institution. No, you should not come to class late. And walk in the front. Oh, here's what I've had students do before. Walk in the front of the class while the professor's talking and look at him like he crazy. What you looking at, man? That professor, he won't say anything. He won't say much to you because of the code of politeness. He won't say much to you. You're just trying to figure out you did B work and all of a sudden you got a C. That's how that plays out. Keep your head on a swivel. You don't think people are watching? People are watching. And even people of color who work at the predominantly white institution, they trying to find ways to help you. Here's what they don't want you to do. They don't want you to mess it up for everybody. That's what they don't want you to do. I don't know how many times I don't have conversations with my colleagues. They be like, man, I wish they didn't come here so ghetto. They make it hard. They make it hard for me, man. They straight up, it's hard. I can't advocate for somebody when I know he don't fault some dude in the dorm. That's a hard sell. Yeah, this kid should get this scholarship, but he almost tore up the residence hall last year. It's a hard sell. It's a very hard sell.